We're back with World Politics again, and today we're going to be discussing the 14-point memorandum of understanding between Iran and the US. We meet to discuss that is Mustafa Jinadu. Sagodi is here. My name is Aflabi. Welcome to the show.
Okay, if you look at that memorandum and we take it at face value, and if the US commits to that memorandum, then it means that Iran has strategically won this war because it held out for this memorandum, which makes Iran, if we go by the memorandum, as the US honors it, it makes Iran much stronger than Iran was before the war. Before the war, Iran was a country since 1979 that's been called a rogue state, that's been called the biggest funder of terrorism through Hezbollah, through Hamas, through Yemen. They've been called the greatest funders of terrorism. They've been called a rogue state. And America has pledged that they will topple the Islamic Republic of Iran and put in someone else, probably the Shah's son. That was the state of things before the war. Before the war, US and Israel had bombed Iran several times, and Iran had not really retaliated before the war. Before the war, there were crippling sanctions on Iran. They weren't able to get revenue from their oil sales. Oil sales were blocked, or they were making revenue, but they were trying to put embargoes on them, raiding their ships, and also had more than $300 billion that they've seized from Iran through crippling economic sanctions, which are what caused the social unrest um, through Iran. Before the war, U.S. had military bases circling Iran in UAE, in Saudi Arabia, in Kuwait. Now, we're not saying all of that has come to an end, but we know that that Iran has greatly crippled the bases in the Middle East, and they've decimated the U.S.'s military presence there. But let's put that aside. Let's look at the memorandum. The memorandum says that they'll give them $300 billion, right? $300 billion. They said that they will cease any aggression towards Iran or to its allies. That means no
Yes.
aggression towards Lebanon, no aggression towards Syria, no aggression towards Iran. This is in theory a revolutionary change. In theory, because I don't know if it's going to happen, but we're looking at the theory. This is how Iran has won because the U.S. has now committed to, if Iran meets its expectations, Israel and America cannot attack Lebanon. They cannot attack Syria. They cannot attack Iraq. These are the three countries that they've been attacking for decades and saying to Iran, we have the right to do it because they're run by terrorists. Now they're saying that no, if we sign this agreement, we don't have the right to do this anymore. Before the war, Iran said they didn't want to make nuclear weapons. Now, but the US was demanding that Iran gives up all of its nuclear capability and its nuclear dust and all of these things. Now, this memorandum doesn't really, it says, okay, yeah, you can keep your nuclear, your uranium and everything. You just can't make nuclear weapons and you have to keep it at a certain level. To me, I thought, does that look like a loss for Iran? It's consistent with what Iran wanted to do with Obama. You see what
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
saying?
you're
So
absolutely right, Mustafa. It's a win-win situation for Iran, in my own opinion.
in theory, so before anybody goes and says that we say America has lost, they've lost in that they've committed themselves to something which makes Iran look good. And before the war, or at the start of the war, the U.S. never dreamed that it would even sign a memorandum, because this is a memorandum, that they would even, because that's a sign of weakness in the U.S. And we know why it's a sign of weakness. Iran matched Israel and the U.S. toe to toe in missile warfare, in bomb warfare. They used saturation of decoy missiles, wiped out billions of dollars of infrastructure in Israel with their weaponry and in the Middle East. And then Iran was willing, with the standoff with the U.S., because the U.S. wanted to do a standoff in which they cripple the world's economy, and then the world forces Iran to unblock the Strait of Hormuz and to give in to the U.S. and to hand in all their nuclear stuff. And the U.S. also had a blockade. Iran stood steadfast, and it was going to bring the world economy down. So Trump had no other recourse but to sign this agreement, which in theory gives Iran what they want. And now Iran is what it wasn't before the war. Before the war, Iran was on its back trying to negotiate and pleading with America and Israel, let's negotiate. But once they killed Khamenei, and they, as soon as they did that and killed those girls, when the U.S. tapped and killed those girls, what they did was they awoken what Iran knows it can be, which is, I'm not saying they're stronger than Israel, but Iran is an equal hegemon in the Middle East, actually more powerful than Israel, because Iran will beat Israel if the U.S. stops funding Israel. So now Iran is a hegemon in the Middle East that can make demands. It said you will not attack Lebanon, you will not attack Iran, Iraq, you will not attack Syria. So now they can tell that to America, and America says, oh, yeah, we'll sign the paper. Before that, if they say that to America, America said, get the fuck out of my face, you bitch. I'm going to destroy you. Now Iran is toe to toe. Whether they win or lose, they now have a solid presence in the Middle East. So this is how, in theory, Iran has won. And also practically, because the U.S. is only signing this thing because the U.S. cannot maintain a hot war with Iran. Iran won, and they won this war by surviving 107 days of a hot war against Iran, against Israel, and against America. So it doesn't matter what happens forward. Maybe America is going to regroup and attack them. But so far, Iran has won. And let me give a warning to America and Israel. If you want to do a prolonged war with Iran, nobody will win. Iran won't win. America won't win. The whole world will lose. What are your thoughts, Afolabi?
Yeah, I quite agree with you. I mean, this is a massive asymmetric win for Iran. You're right about that. It's a boost for BRICS, and it's a reality check for Israel and Lebanon. First of all, the asymmetric win. The US essentially is going to pay an astronomical amount. I mean, $300 billion fund, along with lifting sanctions, freeing up billions, and so many other things, just to get the global oil supply moving again. You know, Iran got to keep its ballistic missiles, and they can enrich for now, at least not to weapons level. So once upon a time, Iran was an isolated target. Now they're a globally recognized regional powerhouse, at least on paper. And now they become a business lucrative, point of contact for BRICS. You know, breaking the U.S. naval blockade means Iran is now a lucrative sanction-free assets for the BRICS network. So, and then you look at this now puts Israel and Lebanon in check. Yes, the US signed a paper saying military operations in Lebanon must stop, but theoretically, it puts a massive wall in front of any Israeli regional expansion. So basically, all these are wins for Iran, maybe on paper, but it will be very difficult once the US signs up on this to go back on it. I mean, they will look like fools, basically, because right
No,
now they have egg on their face.
and this goes back to the leave it to Bibi. Israel is what will happen. I don't know what Israel is going to do, but if Israel continues attacking Lebanon continually, Iran is going to say F this and and escalate the war, and the US will have to jump in and help Israel. But my prediction is what Israel will do is they'll play with fire. They'll do small attacks on Lebanon and wait for time for them to build up their military. So this should be a warning to Iran. Iran has to show that it is willing to bring this whole thing back to a hot war if Israel continues expanding on Lebanon. Because if once Lebanon falls, Iran is going to find it more difficult to fight Israel and the U.S. because they'll have them encircled. I don't think it's going to get to that level because of China and Russia.
You're
China and
absolutely
Russia,
right. Iran can't
yeah,
afford to be passive on this. They
no, they
can't
can't.
afford to be passive.
Yeah, because I think what U.S. is doing is trying to buy time because they ran out. They thought that by killing Khamenei, they would cause a revolution and everybody would be celebrate and Iran will crumble. When that didn't work, they continued bombing Iran. That didn't work. Then they actually, funny enough, they actually tried to put a blockade on Hormuz to actually make sure that Iran can't get oil to China or anybody else, and that even their own allies, the other countries, couldn't get oil. And the U.S.'s idea was that if we close down Iran totally, America has the most oil reserves in the world. They say we will survive, and the rest of them will suffer, and it'll put pressure. But what happened was that the way economics works, even if U.S. has oil reserves, if there's a global chokehold on the world oil reserves, it's going to cause prices to go up in the U.S.
Of
too,
course, they
because the
have
world
caused inflation in America because of that.
because
They
I
are
was
hurting
complaining gas was
themselves.
going up. A lot of motherfuckers were looking at their gas price saying, wait a minute, I can't buy beer anymore. I can't buy cocaine. I can't buy prostitutes. No, man, motherfucker, Trump got to go. You know, Trump got to go. You get my point. I
That's the
can't.
way they're
So
looking at
you
it.
mean I go to work now and
Absolutely.
I buy petrol and I go home, no girlfriend? Nah, Trump. So, and now the oil prices in America are plummeting. Gas prices in America are plummeting. Now I can buy wine again. I'm happy.
Yeah,
So, in
even the
other words,
price of gas in Nigeria is going
yeah,
to plummet because it's
yeah.
been
So
at
what
an
I'm saying is that
all-time
Trump,
high.
but what Trump was hoping was that because the U.S. doesn't need world gas. They were thinking, oh, the rest of the world would suffer and they'll beg Iran to stop. It didn't work. China said they were willing to use their oil reserves for the next 25 years. And they also had China redirected uh, shipping routes. They took through trains and other waterways to help them lessen the effect of all of this. So what you're seeing is that Iran couldn't do this by itself. China has committed for at least 25 years to stand with Iran, even if Iran sinks. And China says if we lose our contractual agreements with Iran, we're going to penalize the U.S. and the West in court because there's legal holdings, and that would cause the whole economic world system to collapse because China holds the key to the world economic system. So I'll end with that, saying that China played a big role in this, and not only that, China was giving Iran drones and Russia was giving Iran drones. So let's not think that Iran did this by themselves. They did this because their allies stood strong with them. And then Iran sent a message to the world, to Israel, by attacking Israel and continually helping Lebanon. After when Israel and the U.S. left, when the U.S. and Israel left Iran alone, they went after Lebanon. But Lebanon said, no, I mean, not Lebanon. Iran said, Lebanon is part of our treaty. So what I'm saying is that the BRICS alignment and also the resistance alignment with Lebanon, Iraq, Iran, they stood their ground, and that's the only way. And the rest of the world, we and the rest of our world, have to stand up against the U.S. and hegemony and say, no, we stand together. We want a multipolar world. What are your thoughts? Segodi is saying, why am I here? I'm just sipping Clip Drift.
Segodi is feeling so cold.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Segodi?
No, this is the beginning of the celebration for all the oppressed people of the world, like all the brown people of the world, because this is all about white power. We know that. Yes, it's a beginning of celebration for people like me and you. Like you see, before the war, Iran was oppressed, pushed, and then pushed around. But now USA got it to their face that they cannot just go into Iran and do what they like they did in Iraq, and also kill Saddam Hussein, things like that. So now I'm very pleased and I'm very happy the way things are going, the way Iran stood and defended themselves and showed Israel and the US that, listen, if you hit us, we'll back, and we can also make you feel the pain that we are feeling. So I think US is for real about this memorandum, because if they were not for real, they were not going to do it. They're too proud to even promise Iran anything, you know. Now, if they go ahead and do it, it's also a very, very big win for all these countries in the Middle East. Israel now has no chance to even extend itself around the Middle East, because you see Israel has been putting all these countries around. Like your Palestine, it's also a win for them, Yemen as well, because now we see who's the real terrorist. Because the US and Israel are the real terrorists who are punishing people for being themselves.
Yeah, you know what they're doing? They're punishing people for resistance.
I'm glad. I mean, it makes me happy as well.
Yeah. See, they call Hezbollah terrorists.
They're punishing people.
They call Hezbollah terrorists. They call Hamas terrorists. I don't want to get our show blocked, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut as to whether they're terrorists. But one thing we know, the people that they are calling terrorists, there's another word for them too. They call them the resistance. And this goes back to the 1950s and 1960s when Jewish people started coming to the Middle East, killing Arabs, killing Persians, killing Palestinians. And these people fought back. And they said, oh, these people are resisting. They're terrorists. So what this shows is that the resistance is working. Let me tell you, they're not talking about it on the news, but the Palestinian Hezbollah is killing Israeli soldiers. You know that, Afabi. They're killing them. And then what Israel soldiers would do, and then what Israel does in revenge is to bomb and kill children because they're losing to men. Yesterday, Trump, you know what Trump said about, Afabi, I told you, you know what Trump said? He said, I don't understand why Israel feels it has to bomb apartments and kill women and children for them to get terrorists. They don't know how to do the job. Maybe we should get our proxy in Syria to help. He said maybe we should get Al Janali to do it because Israel has fucked up. He basically said Israel is fucked up. That how come they can't beat Hezbollah? And now why are they killing women and children? That's what Trump said yesterday. So what I'm saying, Trump may be lying. Maybe it's all theater. But he's putting it out there.
But he has openly criticized Israel for doing it.
You know why he's criticizing Israel? Because Hezbollah is beating them. Even in Palestine, Hamas is beating Israel. They can't beat Hamas, so they kill women and children. So what Israel does is when big men fight them, they walk away from the big men and they go and kill women and children so that they can feel like they're men. That's what they do. They have no balls.
So which begs the question, what then is terrorism?
No, Israel is a terrorist because they kill civilians when they can't kill soldiers. That's beautiful one.
Absolutely right.
Okay, probably last thoughts. Let's talk about how China's role. China's role in all of this is that they're the economic guarantor of the world because they control the supply and command. They chain of supply all over the world, and they stood by Iran and made and I'm pretty sure that when Trump went to China, Xi told him, because Trump went with his businessman. He came with Elon Musk. He said, you guys aren't going to make your money if you keep fucking around with Iran. Because fucking around, it's not that we love Iran, but we make money off of Iran. And if you fuck up our money with Iran, I'm going to fuck up your money too. What are your thoughts on that? Give us a breakdown on that, Afolabi.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I followed your point also in the research that you were doing, that China and Russia basically, they've created a market for them, more or less, breaking the US dominance. Because if you break the US naval blockade, it means Iran is now a lucrative, sanction-free asset for the network of BRICS. Now, it's a clear signal to the world that the era of unchecked US dominance in the Middle East has hit a hard limit and it can't continue. So that, in a sense, is another victory for Iran. But China was strategic, basically, and the Russia as well.
Segodi, tell me, we were on fire today, man. On fire, right? Our show, on fire. We're on fire today, man. We're the only show where we actually black during the show.
Definitely.
If you want to find out what's going on geopolitically, watch our show. Not only our show, there's a lot of people. Watch the new Atlas, which has Beletic. Watch Nima show called Dialogue Works. Watch these shows. Don't watch CNN. Don't watch BBC and all that bullshit.
It was a good thing we did world politics. It was almost going under the radar. Because of
we had to do it today but I'm doing it. I did it with Segodi yesterday. Segodi.
Oh, okay.
Segodi, we did one yesterday, right?
Yes.
And we already published it. No.
Okay. Yes, we did.
I thought it was
because Afolabi has been focused on World Cup, so he didn't see what we were doing. All right, take us out, Afolabi.
It's been another brilliant show. I've been discussing the 14-point memorandum of understanding between Iran and the US. I'm from Mustafa Segodi. My name is Afolabi. We'll be back again with more interesting world political stories. Bye for now.
Okay, take it up. I can't wait for the World Cup when we do it. But Segodi,